Hello and welcome to this another section in our WebGIS development series, which is a leaflet. So leaflet is just like OpenLayers, another JavaScript library that enables us to see geospatial data onto the front end. It is a super lightweight library and the first preference for non-GIS developers. So most of the time when you will see a website or any application where mapping is not their first concern, but they just want to add a map to show few places, most of the time they will use Leaflet because it is really easy to integrate Leaflet into the map and then also to start using it. We will first head to the home of Leaflet, which is leafletjs.com, and as you can see, it is mobile friendly interactive maps and it is really lightweight. So I think uh, I believe the complete library is somewhat in some kbs only, so that's really impressive, right? If I download the latest version, you will see it's only 643 KB. So that's really impressive. But of course, with this, there comes some pros and cons. And my objective here is to show you how you can compare open layers with Leaflet and how you can come up with a solution that when to use Leaflet and when to use open layers. Of course, both libraries are super awesome and I use them both in different scenarios, and there is no statement that I can give like Leaflet is best or open layers is best, but it all depends upon your use case. As you can see, it is only 38 KB of JavaScript. So if I open this, you can see I will have all the CSS and everything like that, including images, icons and stuff like that. All right, so what we will do is, first of all, we will create a really simple and really basic application. If I go to the home page, that is index.html, and if I scroll down a little bit, you will see that here we are also dealing with a div having the id as a map. All right, so what we need to do is same thing that we did with open layers. We need to create a div with a id as map. So let me change it to html again. So div with id as map, and then I can assign some styling here. So let me give some styling, hash map, because it is id. Width may be 100% and height can be 90 vh. All right, there we go. Now what we need to do is we need to copy paste this to the index.js. First we will see if we are getting the map, and then I will try to cover what we are trying to do here. If we go back and if we refresh, we are not getting map because obviously we have to add the CDNs, right? So if I go to the docs or if I go to the downloads, you will see that I can easily add a CDN link from here. So I will copy this and I will paste it in my index.html. So let me give it a name, leaflet CDN. All right, if I save now and if I come back to my application, voila, we have the map, we have a marker, and we also have a pop-up. So it looks like for just 9 lines of code, we are getting marker, pop-up and map as well. So immediately the first impression becomes that okay, it's really simple and it looks like it's really easy to use as well. So here what we are doing, l.map. So just like we had new ol.map in open layers, we have l.map here in leaflet, and then we declare the id which we want to use, the div id, and then the center. One thing you might notice here that in open layers the default projection system was EPSG 3857, which was in metric system, but in leaflet we need to provide latitude and longitude. That means it is a 4326 EPSG 4326 system. So we need to take care of that whenever we are adding new information, we have to make sure that the default projection is EPSG 4326. If I directly take the center from my map on open layers, and if I try to add it here, of course that will create an error. But if I change the projection of either this map to 3857 or open layers to 4326, and then if I grab the coordinates, I will be able to use them here. Also, one key difference here is that this follows latitude and longitude system. So it is exactly same to the maps system that we have with the Google Maps. So if I click anywhere with what's here, you will see that this 19 and this 19.96 and 73.76. If I go to the get lat long website, or maybe latlong.net, doesn't matter, and if I try to zoom to the place where I am right now, so I am somewhere near here. Okay, so you can see we are following latitude and longitude here, while in open layers we were following longitude and latitude. So these are some minor things that we need to keep in mind when we are dealing with different types of mapping libraries. We need to be 100% sure that we are providing the coordinates in the format or in the projection which is expected, and also in the format which is it expected. It is longitude or latitude or latitude or longitude. We have to be sure about it. All right, now if I change this, if I save, if I go back, there we go, we are somewhere near Nasik. So okay, that tells us that okay, we are in on the right page. All right, so this was about initiating a map. Then we can add new layers by declaring the type of layer. So here this is a tile layer, because of course the even in open layers we used to add base map by initiating a tile layer, right? So this is a tile layer attribution, so I can provide any attribution that I want. Like after this I can write created by, and maybe I can introduce one more href. All right, I can write my name here, Krishna Lodha, and my website here, so http://krishnagloda.com. all right, now if I go back, there we go, created by Krishna. So this is awesome, right? So every time when you're working on some project, you can include your name here, and that's a really cool thing to have. Immediately you will see that it is really easy to add marker and pop-ups, and maybe that is why it is so famous amongst the non-JS developer as well. You can see that if you have a data coming in from some sort of API or some sort of JSON where you are getting a lat long of that person or lat long of that specific location, and all you need to do is show that on the map, you can see how easily you can do it. You don't need to create a layer, then source, and add features to it and all these kinds of things. You can see immediately with just 3 lines of code I'm able to add marker, and also I'm able to add a pop-up to it. So that is how we can create markers in Leaflet. Of course we will have a deep look at how to create and customize marker in upcoming videos, but for now let's try to change the base map. The one thing that makes Leaflet so popular is that the plugins section. You can see Leaflet itself is a really lightweight library, and that means if you want to do certain type of tasks which are not predefined in Leaflet, you need to take help of some plugins. These plugins are developed by community all over the world, and there are literally plugins to do everything, right from drawing to printing to even changing base maps to create heat maps and all these kinds of things. You can scroll down and you can see these are the plugins which are accepted by Leaflet, and they provide like direct communication with this plugin from their homepage. But of course there are tons of plugins available which are not in this homepage but still available. So even a simple thing such as markers and renderers, you can see when I click there, I can see there again different types of plugins available which can help me do the same thing. So just for the markers, you can see how many plugins are available. And if I open any one of these, let's say this leaflet semicircle, so by the name I'm guessing it allows us to create semicircle, and there you go. You can see how easily we can create circles, semicircles, or stuff like that easily using these plugins. We will get into this plugins part later in this course, where we will understand how to use GitHub to check the code, how to use the code by either cloning or by simply downloading it as a zip, and we will have more look at that later part. Now, first thing that we want to do is check the options that we have for the base map. So base maps in Leaflet. If I search that, you will see that again we are uh, redirected to this page. I think C. So this is an extras page. That means it is not something that Leaflet themselves supports, but again, this is something that we can definitely use. So as you can see here, I get so many options for my base map. So if I want to use this, what I can do is I can simply copy this, and as you can see, this is also a tile layer. So I can simply copy this, and if I replace my current tile layer, so OSM tile layer, and I will simply comment this for now, and I will add custom tile layer. So custom tile layer, and I will simply paste this. Now what it will do is it will initiate this tile layer, but again I need to add that to my map as well. Alright, so if I save this, if I go back to my application, voila, we have that new base map. So this is a really great impression of open layers, that how easy and how elegant or clean it is to change the base map. And of course with this library you practically can like serve it for any purpose. So if you are creating something for showing your data, then maybe for the night time you can use the dark theme, for the daytime you can use the light theme, kind of what you will experience on your Android or your iPhone when you open the Google Maps. If you open the Google Maps in the night time, you will immediately see that their base map turns into the dark mode, and this is something that you can achieve for your own application. So this is pretty cool, right? Alright, now we will get into the basic shapes that we can add to the leaflet. So I will head back to the Leaflet JS again, and inside documentations, inside vector layers, you can see different types of elements that we can add. So polyline, polygon, rectangle, circle, of course path and markers, and all these kinds of things. Now let's try to add a basic polygon. If I click on polygon, you will see that their documentation is as simple as application. We can easily read what exactly is the procedure to add a polygon to our map. Now if I have a look at this example, I can simply copy this and I can paste it here in my code, and then this is a lat long, so we need to create a polygon out of this lat long. Alright, so maybe I'll just copy everything from here and then I can explain you. Copy, paste it here. Alright, so what we are trying to do here, we have created an array of the lat long. So you can see this is an array of an array, where each array inside the main array contains lat long of that point, and then we are providing this lat long to this l.polygon function, which of course as the name suggests creates polygon, and then we are passing these options. We will have a look at these options later, but for now let's just say that our polygon will be colored red, and then we need to add this to the map, and then we are fitting the bounds of our map to the bounds of that polygon. That means we are zooming to this polygon. If I save this and if I go back to my application, you can see the Colorado state is completely highlighted with this red colored polygon. So this is how we create a polygon. And now let's have a look at the options and where to see how options are available and how many options are available. Basically, if you scroll down, you will see the basic skeleton or the syntax that we need to follow in order to add the polygon. So L dot polygon, and then inside a bracket you can see lat long must be provided inside an array, comma, polygon options. If I click here, you will see that right out of the bat, specific options for polygon are only two: smooth factor and this no clip. But you can see that options can be inherited from uh, another available element such as path or interactive layer, or simply from the layer. That means if I click here, you can see that I get so many options here, and these are the options that I can use with my polygon. So options inherited from path can be used with polygon as well. So let's just have a look at maybe one of them. So let's say if we add fill color, so default fill color is, I think, the same that we have with this color, that means a stroke color, but let's try something different. All right, so what I will do is I will simply write fill color, and maybe let me pass yellow just for the sake of fun. Now if I go back, voila, you can see that now inside my polygon is filled with yellow color, and my path, that means the stroke, that means the outline of my polygon, is in red color, right? So just like that, you can see there are so many options available, and not just those but also these options. So attribution, so string to be shown in attribution control, but that's okay, we don't need it right now. Then fill opacity, fill rule. So if I change fill opacity to 1, it will look really ugly, but this will give you some sort of idea about what we are trying to do. All right, so this is how we pass the different options to our application, to our polygon. And just like this, we have options literally for everything. If I go back to the documentation, so if I go back to this reference documentation, and if I look for maybe, let's say, a polyline, you can see there is a similar pattern. Lat long are defined, then polyline is initiated with L dot polyline lat long, and then options are passed, which of course we can find here. So again, polyline also inherits option from path. That means we can obviously color, add dash array, dash input, line join, opacity, stroke, and things like that. So you can see Leaflet has tons of options for different things. If we go into the marker, again you will see that there are some options available to us. So things such as title. So if I add this title to my marker, so I will have to add it here, comma, and then create an object with a title as this is a marker title, and where it will appear text for the browser tooltip that appears on marker hover. That means if I again go back to my marker, which was here, and if I just hover on this marker, you will see that this is a marker title which acts as a tooltip. So you can see we can do a lot of things with these options available, and I would highly suggest you guys to test it out. Now let's add a really funny or a really awesome option, which is a draggable. Now if I add this here, you can see what type of input it takes. It takes a boolean, so either false or true. If I add true here, and if I go back to my application, if I zoom out a little bit, I'm able to drag my marker. How cool is this, guys? So I can put this marker anywhere I want. This is no longer a static marker, but this is now a dynamic marker, right? Now if I go back to my Leaflet documentation, and if I scroll down, you will see we get events. So just like methods, events are also important part. So what do we mean by event? When we add event, if you remember from our open layers lecture, we used to add events on the WMS layer, that means tile layers, on vector layers, on maps. So events such as what to do when you click on somewhere, when you click on something, what to do when you're double clicking, what to do when you're dragging, and stuff like that. And we can do the same thing in Leaflet as well. So if I want to show you a basic example, you can see that there are some events related to the drag. So drag start, move start, drag end, and move end. Let's try to add an event to this application. Now what will happen is I will need to add those events, but to add those events I will need to first of all save this marker into a variable so that it will be easier for me. Otherwise I can add event like this, but that is just confusing, and I like to keep things simple as much as possible. So what I will do is I will first of all turn this off for this marker, and I will create a new marker. Alright, so let's also stop with fitting the mounts, because let's say we don't want to fit the bounds, and marker with draggable option and events. Alright, so var drag marker is equal to l.marker, and just for the sake of this example I will remove the pop-ups and everything, and also I will remove this add to on the map. Alright, just a plain marker. Now for the testing purpose, let's add some random dimension to it or random location to it. Alright, so this is a random location. Right, then what else can we add? We can add some opacity, so let's keep opacity as 0.5. Alright, and that's all. Now I will add this marker to the map. Add marker to map. So drag dot marker add to map. Alright, so until now we are fine. We will see a marker somewhere. Let me check, where is it? Okay, there it is. Alright, so you can see, of course, we have also played with the opacity. Now let's try to add the draggable event. So what I will do is drag marker, and of course if I want to add a draggable event I will need to be 100% sure that it is draggable. Right, so I will simply cut it from here and I will paste it here. Now I can add events by looking into the documentation. Let's click let's use this drag start. So on drag start function event, and then maybe we can console log this event. Alright, and then maybe we can also console log just started dragging. Just started dragging, not grading, dragging. Alright, and similar to this I will copy it and paste it again, and I will change the drag start to the drag end. Just finished dragging. Alright, now if I save this, if I go back and if I zoom to that draggable icon again, of course we will need to check the console, right? If I zoom out, there we go. So this is my marker, and if I now select this by holding it, and as soon as I start dragging, you will see that okay, I have written on sole here, which is of course a stupid thing to write. Now if I zoom out and if I start to drag this, you will see that I'm getting this event just started dragging, and I can drag wherever I want, and as soon as I let it go I will get the event that just finished dragging. And it is so nice that it is also calculating the distance. That means how far we have traveled from our original location. If I now again select this and if I start dragging, you will see the drag event is started, and if I let it go, again it is giving me the distance that we have traveled. So this is pretty cool, right? Now if I click here again and if I click again, you will see that we are getting the distance. Inside this we are also getting a target and source target. That means from where we are moving. So we can take advantage of all these things to show them on our front end. Right, so you can see how cool it is that we can attach different types of events to our layers, and not just this layer but any layers. So everywhere when you will go into the documentation, so for example, let's say if you look at this style layer, you will see options, you will see options inherited from another types of elements, and then you will see the events as well. So for tile layer we have add, remove, loading and things like that. Finally, we also have some methods that we can use in order to fetch information from this. So things such as get lat long. Now if I use this method on this marker, so drag marker dot get lat long, it will fetch me the current lat long where it is right now. If I move it for some reason and if I look for the lat long again, it will give me the latest lat long. So you can see these methods are important in order for us to fetch some information. Similar to that we can also send the lat long programmatically to change the location of our marker. So that totally depends upon us. Get icon, so this is also really cool thing. Get icon, it will fetch us information about the icon which we are using right now, and this is a default icon. We will of course change it and we will see how to do it in the next lecture. Finally, we have another method known as toGeoJSON. So if I use this, let me clear my console, and if I use this drag marker dot get GeoJSON, you will see that we are getting this in a GeoJSON format, which is so important for us to save the data or to pass the data to someone else who might want to use it again. So if the data is coming from somewhere, you will expect it to be in GeoJSON, but again if you are drawing or adding some data onto the map and then again sending that data back, that server or that another program might also expect that data should come in GeoJSON, and methods like this toGeoJSON helps us to achieve that. So it's really awesome and important. Now finally, if I click on the map, you will see that again this map comes with some basic information such as get center, which will fetch us the current center, map.get_zoom, which will fetch us the current zoom level, map.get_bounds, which will fetch us the bounds. Notice that in open layers we used to get bounds and zoom and center by accessing the view variable. So we used to do map.getView and then used get center, get zoom and anything like that. But in Leaflet we can directly access it. We don't need to necessarily pinpoint to the view element and then grab all these things. So this is again a difference between Leaflet and open layers. I am sure that most of you guys are impressed with the capabilities that we have with Leaflet, and of course like you might be pretty excited with it. So please go ahead and try to create a same application that you used while practicing the open layers. Try to add some polygons, some layers and all these basic kinds of things using this documentation, and in the next video we will again have a look at Leaflet in the depth. Thank you.